Hello! My name is Kallista, and welcome back to Dragon Age 2. In the last episode, we picked Aveline up from the Viscount's Keep, and she said that she actually has a job for us. However, before we get to that, I think I want to head down to Gamlen's house. Just check on Mother, see how everyone's doing down there. And the world map. To change map, select Kirkwall Night or the Free Marches. Click on a destination to go there. The Chantry is accessed by Hightown. There's the Exiled Prince. I think I'm going to hold off on that. We can access the Hanged Man by Lowtown, as can Gamlen's home. And we have mail, apparently. Yeah, I'm going to head straight to Lowtown. There we go. Now then, do we actually have any pertinent codex? Okay, we've read these. It does annoy me that the ones we've read aren't tagged. The coterie, that's new. Kirkwall is built on a solid foundation of greed and human suffering, and its underworld is a place where everything is for sale and everyone is fair game. There are many criminal empires within the city, some of which have been around since the Imperium used Kirkwall as a hub in the slave trade. Alliances, spying, manipulation, betrayal, and open warfare is all commonplace in the never-ending struggle for power. The Coterie is a thieves' guild that has been around for almost a century, but until recently was never a major player in the underworld. Some 20 years ago, the strongest of the local criminal empires was an ancient guild known as the Sabrathan, but its leader was betrayed from within, and during the turmoil, the coterie made a successful grab for power. Since then, they've sunk their claws into almost every level of Kirkwall, including the City Guard, the Dwarven Merchants Guild, and some of the most influential citizens in the city. It's safe to say that the coterie gets a slice of every pie, and very little goes on in Kirkwall that escapes their notice. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. And we read those too. Characters: Aveline Valen. If it's family, you protect. Doesn't matter who it is, blood or not. Aveline was born in Orlais, but she never knew the country. Her father, Benoit Dulac, was a chevalier who lost his patron to the game of intrigue. He fled to Ferelden while Aveline was an infant, and though his holdings were meagre, he was determined she would have the life he had lost. She would become a knight, no matter the cost. He eventually sold everything to sponsor Aveline into King Caelan's service. Knightly skills seemed bred into Aveline's bones, but she had her doubts, starting with her namesake, Sir Aveline. The first female knight of Orlais was orphaned, mocked for her looks, and murdered when she dared stand with men in tournament. Her glory lies in tragedy, but the living Aveline doesn't revere sacrifice. A principal death is still a death. Her father was proud of her, but she would never be the knight he wished for. Aveline married Wesley Valen while serving in the Ferelden army. They were kindred spirits and determined guardians. His death during the Blight scarred her. Not just his loss, but that she failed to protect him. Aveline has healed in the past year, but she has yet to forgive herself. Accordingly, she is fiercely protective of the Hawks and Amelia. They share a bond in loss, a connection she cherishes, but will not allow to be repeated. Bartrand Tethras. Half of Kirkwall wants to be my best friend right now. The history of Noble House Tethras stretches back to the foundation of Orzammar. The memories say that 3 times a child of House Tethras took the office of Assembly Steward. They held appointments in the Shaperet of Memories and the Shaperet of Golems, but no longer. In the 2nd year of the reign of King Endrin Idukan, Lord Andvar Tethras was found guilty before the Assembly of willfully manipulating proving matches in favour of his house. For this affront to the ancestors, he and all his house were sentenced to exile on the surface. Andvar died a mere 5 years later, leaving behind his lady Ilsa, 10-year-old Bartrand, and 2-year-old Varric. Exile, surface life, and the loss of her husband conspired against Lady Ilsa, who took to drink, leaving young Bartrand to manage what was left of House Tethras. By the time he was 15, Bartrand had doubled his family's fortune. The disgrace of House Tethras fueled his ambition, and his once noble title gave him an instant place among the Kalnas, the old money elite of the Dwarven Merchants Guild. He used it to build alliances and business ventures, as if he were a member of the Orzammar Assembly. By the time Lady Ilsa died, Bartrand had made the Tethras family one of the guild's most influential. But wealth and power on the surface wouldn't sate him. He began to court alliances with the wealthiest ascendant families, branching into banking and mercenary companies. Guild members mutter that nothing will satisfy Bartrand but a complete reconstruction of House Tethras' estate in Orzammar, down to the rivers of lava, built in Kirkwall. Carver Hawk. 100 ways to run, and we chose backwards. Whatever you say, but chasing an old name isn't really starting over. Strong and strapping, Carver is a skilled warrior set on proving himself, although it's not always clear who he is trying to impress. The son and sibling of mages, he grew up surrounded by magic he couldn't truly understand, and he feels like something was expected that he could never deliver. He cares deeply for his family, but sometimes feels like the stupidest person in the room. Carver foundered in Lothering. Foundered? Is that a word? Maybe they mean floundered. That would make sense. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Carver floundered in Lothering. He blamed his lack of direction on not wanting to draw attention to his family of apostates at home. After his father died, he started down a military path. However, the Blight and rout at Ostagar ended this career almost before it could start. While he knows that swift flight was the only reasonable course in the face of the Darkspawn advance, he almost would rather have stood and fought. Doomed though the effort was, facing the Horde had purpose. Something Carver had been searching for. The Hero of Ferelden. The Hero of Ferelden was born to noble House Idukan of Orzammar, the second child of King Endrin Idukan. After being charged with fratricide, the hero was exiled to the Deep Roads. There she met the Grey Warden Commander Duncan, who recruited her into the Order. The hero fought and killed the Archdemon and lived to tell the tale. With the Archdemon gone, the Darkspawn ranks broke, and the Horde was easily routed. After ending the Blight, the hero Ferelden took up the mantle of Warden Commander and began the task of rebuilding the Order in Ferelden. And last but not least, Varric Tethras. I know everyone in this city worth knowing. Varric was born 3 years after his father's exile from Orzammar. Into the world of the Merchants Guild, the ancestors never spoke, and paragons were heroes in tall tales. The number of dances a Kalna lady gave to a low-born ascendant boy was more pivotal than the reign of kings. While Bartrand ran the businesses and drove House Tethras ever higher up the social ladder, Varric looked after the family and their retainers. His mother, Lady Ilsa, suffered terribly from the trauma of her disgrace and exile, finding solace in liquor and smoke. It fell to her younger son to try and curb the worst of her drunken rages, to keep her from becoming a matter of public scandal, and to care for her when she fell ill from her excesses. Though he is famous throughout the Merchants Guild for his stories, Varric rarely speaks of himself or his family. Most of Kirkwall knows him. Everyone has brought him a drink at least once, for the sake of his fictions rather than his family connections. Got them. We read that. And they're all good. Good stuff. Okie doke. And we have more codex entries here.
Junior, you're looking at this all wrong.
Whatever it is you're about to say, I'm not interested.
I'm a professional younger brother. Trust me, the center of attention's the worst place to be. When things go wrong, and they always do, that's where all the fingers point. Look at any kingdom in Thedas. You've got people who warm thrones, and people nobody sees who do the real work.
And my sister is a queen in this scenario. Perfect.
Point? Missing it. Oh well.
Oh, Carver, you'll get there someday. I'm sure you will.
A market I can afford, and I don't want a bloody thing.
Okay, Carver. Kirkwall, Lowtown. Lowtown sits in a massive cauldron-shaped pit that was once Kirkwall's first quarry. The district was constructed by slaves who carved the city and its harbour out of the rock. Today, Lowtown is a labyrinth of shanty towns, corridors, and hexagonal courtyards, hexes in the local parlance. Lowtown's poorest live in the caves hewn out of the cliff face. The district is shoddily built and bears scars caused by collapsing walls. Foundry smoke smothers the area. Only a cold winter storm clears the air, but the icy wind howling over the mouths of old mine shafts hardly counts as relief. Occasionally, these dark town shafts erupt with gouts of foul air known as choke damp. It's not uncommon to find whole slums silently suffocated, frozen in the midst of everyday activity. Jesus, that is bleak. Damn! Hello, Future Callista here. I just realised as I was editing this that I never finished off this codex entry, so here's the rest of it. The walls surrounding Lowtown are highest by the harbour. Its busiest street leads up to Hightown, where the wealthiest Kirkwallers perch. When one stands in Lowtown, all one sees other than the rocky walls is Hightown. It glitters overhead, always in sight, yet always beyond reach. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. That's awful. A badly copied letter. Take back our streets. Ferelden refugees, Kunari soldiers. Who next? Tevinter slavers snatching children out of their beds? This ends now. Send a message that Kirkwallers will not accept this. We must band together to drive foreign waste from our doorstep. Reclaim the free marches for the marchers! If you care about our future, join the Friends of Kirkwall. Reclaim our city! Nope. No thank you, you crazy people. We live here now. You can't turf us out.
My, if it isn't Hawk. Still up to old tricks, Elegant? Lady Elegant, if you don't mind. I'm a married woman now. Last time we met, you were still in Athenral's employ. Things have been going well since then?
Could be better. Could be worse.
I often feel the same way. You may recall I sometimes provided potions for Athenral. I'd be willing to extend you the same courtesy if you like. All I ask is you inform me of any interesting reagents you find. In exchange, I'll approach my contacts on your behalf. And of course you'll need the appropriate recipes, such as this one. Free, for old time's sake.
Well, thank you, my dear. Good stuff. Now then, we have an elven vintner. If you remember, we found a bottle of wine in the Viscount's office.
Something of yours, sir.
Maceranus. This is a rare gesture.
No worries, sir. No worries at all.
Gather round, all. I bring you a priceless treasure. From the highest heights of Mount Davros it's travelled. A pouch of Andraste's ashes. Verified by the scholar Genitivi, these ashes cure any ailment and provides virility in more intimate matters. Do I have a volunteer?
I'll try.
Just a small pinch, Sarah. There you go.
My God, it's gone.
Cured by the Maker himself.
That's enough. Clear out, you charlatans. Every coin those swindlers nab goes straight to the Carter's coffers. They must be stopped.
And speaking of the Carter, the castless dwarves of Orzammar have few prospects. Consigned to live in a crumbling ruin on the social and economic fringes of the mighty dwarven capital, most resort to begging, prostitution, or crime. Just as all rivers eventually join the sea, all castless who turn to crime eventually become part of the Carter. The hero of Ferelden decimated the ranks of this ancient gang while rallying the dwarves to join the battle against the archdemon Urthamiel. Unable to recover the power they once had in Orzammar, they turned their attention topside, using groups of surface-dwelling dwarves to smuggle weapons, lyrium, surface luxuries, people, and other goods between Orzammar and human lands. Despite the flow of business, its members are still desperate and violent. With no strong leader to rein in their excesses, they have little sense of dwarven honour and freely break their word, double-cross allies, and renege on deals. From The Stone and Her Children, Dwarves of the Dragon Age, by Brother Genitivi. Oh, that's cool. Now then, Sergeant, I would absolutely be willing to help you take care of these charlatans using, you know, Amelia would be so in awe to learn that Andraste's ashes have actually been found, and they were found in Ferelden. That's insane. Like, I do think she'd kind of be like, oh, I hope that one day I can go on a pilgrimage to Haven to see the ashes and all of that, and to learn that there are charlatans being like, oh yeah, we've got a pinch, just snort this and it'll give you an erection that'll last for 5 hours. She'd be like, hell no, I'ma get rid of these people. No thank you. He's gonna say yes. Now then, and they took up residence opposite Gamlen's house. How dare.
Not a step closer. No refunds on the ashes, friend. If the Maker doesn't favor you, that's between you and him, isn't it?
You are committing crimes against the Maker.
Don't say it.
Bugger off. There we go. And back it up. Back it up. There we go. And next. Come on, get him, people. Everyone's doing alright for hell. Oh, more incoming. Could you focus on the Swindler Hawk? That'd be great. I like the guard watching all of this, just being like, yeah, it ain't none of my business. God, the guards in this city, jeez. Okay, next. Okay, and, oh, Varric. There we go. Everyone's reet. And then, did you drop anything? Thank you. Lovely. And I'll have that. Now then, let's head straight back to the sergeant. Tell her that we got rid of these arseholes.
Maybe later, darling.
I don't want your services, madam. No, thank you.
The thieves are gone, guardsman.
Did you say something? I didn't hear you. And clumsy me. I seem to have dropped a coin purse in your hand.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant. That is very kind. We're just doing the Maker's work, really. That's all Amelia's doing, is the Maker's good work. Now then, Gamlen.
You could do worse, Hawk. It's a roof.
It is a roof, but, you know, you have the choke damp or whatever they called it, you know, people freezing to death. That isn't safe for Mother. That isn't safe at all.
Hard to believe they left me nothing.
Well, Mother was pretty steamed when you ran off with your Ferelden apostate.
I'm still their daughter, their eldest. My children have been in servitude for a year. They should be nobility.
If wishes were poppy, we'd all be dreaming.
You mean this is real? No wonder I can't wake up.
And here I thought that Ferelden you ran off with was a mage, not a jester. Your mother was supposed to marry the Comte de Launcey, and instead she ran off with some Ferelden apostate. You don't get to stay the favorite when you do that.
Where is Father's will? If I could just see for myself.
It's not here, all right? It was read, it went in the vault. No one needed to look at it again.
I know the Amels were nobility, Mother, but not much else. Why don't you ever talk about them?
The Amels have been a noble family in Kirkwall since Garahel drove out the Fourth Blight. But we've always carried magic in our blood. It's been a stain on our lineage. No family of good standing would ever marry into a line with magic. When I chose your father, I was bringing more magic into our line, not less. I think that's what hurt my parents the most.
Did Grandfather mention Mother in his will at all?
Our father died when you were still in Pinafores, girl. You can hardly expect me to remember.
Oh, of course not. Why should you do something reasonable?
You are getting very defensive, Gamlen.
That touched a nerve. What's in there that you don't want us to see?
Nothing. But you won't be seeing the bloody thing. It's still locked up on the estate, and that's long out of my hands.
What daft bastard leaves that behind?
It was old news. You think I've been sitting here for 25 years waiting for Leandra to slink back?
Who bought the estate, Gamlen? Perhaps I could speak to them. Was it the Reinhardts?
No one you know. Get used to Lowtown, sister. That's where we're going to stay.
Maker, what a mess. I want to make things better for Mother. But some of what Gamlen says, I'm having a hard time hating him. Playing caretaker for someone else's life. Stuck in their shadow. That's no way to live.
And there it is.
Look, if you want to join the fight over who lost the most, fine. But I never lived here. Mother even gave me her old key to try and stir something. But I didn't know Grandfather. Finding his will doesn't matter to me.
Apparently we don't have an aggressive option. Well, that's fine. You know, Amelia wouldn't have picked it, especially not with her little brother. We owe it to Mother to try. Let's make it matter to you. I think that... How do I put this? Amelia does love her mother. She loves her very much. She wants her mother to love her unconditionally in the same way that she unconditionally loved Bethany and Carver. I think that the relationship between Leandra and Amelia after the accident, before the accident, it was unconditional love, but after the accident, it was very much conditional. And I think that's fair, you know, she did blast her against a wall and give her brain damage. That is a very, reasonable, you hurt me really badly. I was in a coma for 3 days. I don't necessarily trust you. It's a very valid response. I think that Amelia gets that. But Amelia is also like, I'm your daughter. And it's been, almost 20 years since that, since that incident. I haven't harmed you since. I've tried my best. I haven't done anything since then. And you are still treating me like I'm your kid's distant cousin, rather than their sibling. So I think I would also state that the estate, it doesn't mean anything to Amelia either. She really doesn't care about the estate either. It's just that Mother is so obsessed about getting the estate back. I think Amelia would be more inclined to be like, well, let's find something for you to connect with, rather than something, trying to please Leandra.
You want a connection? This is where we'll find it.
The once mighty Amels? A bunch of slavers are squatting on that dusty glory.
What have you heard?
Uncle's a chatty drunk. He was up to his neck and signed everything over. That's who has the estate. Apparently, the most extensive wine cellar in Kirkwall is now a slave highway from the Undercity. That's the family legacy.
That sounds like an arrangement that needs to change.
And what if it does? We still aren't important enough to actually live in the place.
Baby steps, Carver.
All right, sister. If the key works, we'll clear the estate from the Undercity up. I don't know if this will help, but I do feel like hitting someone.
Good for you, little brother. Good for you. Also, hearing that the family estate is filled with slavers, that would make Amelia's blood boil. Unlike Artin, who really didn't give a shit about slavery, Amelia is very like, oh hell no, you are not. It's kind of ironic. I will say that she's like, you can't enslave another person. You can't hold them against their will somewhere where they don't want to be. Mages in the circle, oh, lock them all up. Amelia does not see that disconnect. You know, surely if you're so anti-slavery, shouldn't you also be anti-circle? Her main point is that a slave can't, I don't know, send a huge boulder at your face. A slave can't set you on fire from 40 yards away, that kind of thing. A slave only has so much power, and they are the maker's children. They shouldn't be, abused and all of that. So she would absolutely be on board for clearing slavers out of the estate.
He wasn't like this in Lothering. I think he misses the open fields.
Come on. Let's play Fetch the Invisible Ball.
He just needs to get out more, don't you, boy?
But if he's with us, who'd keep Gamlen's debt collectors away?
Take it. I'm sick of what's-his-name staring and panting.
Gamlen, honestly, a Mabari understands what you say. Try using his name.
What's wrong with Dog? Real easy to remember.
How dare. No, this puppy is not called Dog. I like to headcanon that Carver named the dog, and Carver named him after one of his favorite legends. The dog is called Dane. Also, you will notice A, B, C, D. When I name characters, I try and look for patterns. And I noticed that, obviously, they had named... Malcolm and Leandra had named their younger two, Bethany and Carver, BC. So I thought, oh, maybe they'd have named their eldest an A name. And then I figured I'd just carry that on with the dog. Yay, who's a good puppy? No, we're not gonna wake up the puppy.
I'll let you sleep.
He's a good bubba. The bestest bubba. Okay, that's everything. Aww. Now then, what do we have? Letter from a Thenril. Hawk, your year's up and you're free to go. Despite what you think, we had a good thing working together. I might pass along an opportunity or two if you're willing to get your hands dirty. Stay safe, a Thenril. The Black Emporium. Greetings. You do not know who I am, but I have heard of you. I understand you might need items for my collection, as well as the means to obtain them. I do not extend this invitation to anyone. But you are not simply anyone, are you? Consider this an invitation to the Black Emporium. Enclosed are directions through the passages underneath the city, as is the charm to enter. If you give the charm to another, its permission will immediately be revoked, and the consequences will be unpleasant. Adieu. Xenon. Oh, I love Xenon the Antiquary. Top bloke. Okay, now we also have our inventory. Nothing in there. Let me just check. Yeah, there's nothing in there. Good stuff. Gamlen, anything to say?
Get out of my face.
Okay.
Your mother's bad enough. I don't need you nagging me.
Okay, Gamlen. Okay, I'ma just check out the rest of the house then. Note addressed to Gamlen. Gamlen Amel. Payment is now 2 months late, Sirrah. Interest accrues, as you are well aware. You will find yourself barred from our establishments unless payment is made. Think. No better card sharp or numbers runner in Kirkwall will deal with you. I certainly hope this matter is attended to before steps are taken. Let us avoid further unpleasantness. Gallard, oh god damn it, Uncle, why are you getting involved with these people?
I think this is the same cheese that was here a year ago.
Oh god, that cheese does not look healthy. It doesn't look healthy.
I feel itchy just looking at that thing.
Yeah, these are not the conditions Amelia wants to leave her mother in.
Looks like the dog's trying to tunnel his way out of this hovel. Can't blame him.
Yep, anyone else would, if they could.
The house won't clean itself, Uncle.
Yeah, I don't think Gamlen minds the mess too much. And all of the stuff we have. Okay, I think I'm gonna deal with this in the next episode because I am almost out of time. I just wanted to say that a little bit more on Amelia and what she's doing. The reason why she's trying to get involved in this expedition, as I said, this is not a safe place for her mother. These are not healthy conditions. Her mother will not last long term in Lowtown. So what Amelia's just trying to do is she's going to get involved in the expedition. Hopefully that will pay off. And maybe they can afford, I don't know, like a nice little house. Maybe in Hightown. That's really all she wants. She doesn't want the family estate back. She just wants a nice, secure, respectable home that her mother can live in with Carver. And once that's done, she has every intention of going to the Circle. Basically, her plans just keep getting pushed back. Obviously, she had to work for a year. She couldn't blow the smugglers off because, they might hurt her family, so she had to keep working for them. And she doesn't want to leave her mother in unsafe surroundings, basically. Now then, I am out of time for this episode. In the next one, so many items to deal with. But until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.